Youth Europa, which is an organization. You know them?
Yeah, it's on the same street that our school is.
Ah! See, the world is so small. And this is also my main message to you today. The world is extremely small. It's everything about contacts and relations and where you've been and stuff like that, and then you make stuff happen. So I also have a collaboration actually with Youth Europa. Awesome. So that's nice. Are you all set up with the video?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool.
So the purpose of today's small exercise and the question from Patrick was just a little bit about, okay, what is social entrepreneurship in Sweden? And also the normal question I get often is, what the hell are you actually doing? Because it seems a bit abstract sometimes. So normally I introduce myself as a social entrepreneur, a change maker, and also a project ninja. Cool. Yeah, always go for the far reach, you know, and she's like, okay, yeah. So, cool. But first of all, why are you here? I know why I'm here today. Why are you here? Please, why are you on this trip in Sweden right now? Dun, dun, dun. New pressure. What do you hope to get out of this trip to Sweden?
Answer?
Ja, vad hoppas du har för det här utbytet som jag har just nu? När du ligger in här. Har du några tankar kring det? While she's thinking about this, we'll turn to one of the Estonian people. I gather you are.
No?
Yeah, yes, they are. They are all
Swedish in the
Sweden.
Det är Swedish. Okej. Vad har ni för tankar kring att få upp det här utbytet som jag har nu?
Jag tar det faktiskt.
Mycket lämpligt.
Well, first of all, I want to work with other people, get their thoughts of what they think social entrepreneurship is, and then I can exchange my thoughts.
Nice. I think that's a good broad view about it. So I think I'll start a little bit. So I thought I was going to talk a little bit about, okay, what I do actually, social entrepreneurship in Sweden, everyday business for us, which is kind of like what I do. Is this even readable? Because it's okay? Cool. I will talk a lot, so no worries. There's a lot of beautiful pictures as well. Some cool social businesses in Sweden that are good examples, and also some of the main challenges within this area if you kind of like have a helicopter view. I talk to a lot of groups. I also give educations and stuff like that, and I have a tendency to talk extremely fast when it's a subject that I like a lot. So please do not hesitate to just say, stop. It's completely okay. First of all, okay, the social entrepreneurship part. All collaborations, projects, and ventures I'm involved in must lead to a better society. Which means that I've dedicated a lot of time and also effort into, okay, everything that I do must in some aspect lead to a better society. And what we work with as an organization, I have two organizations. One of them is called Platform for Social Entrepreneurship, and the other one is called Kalmar Co-working Space. And both of them, they're pretty similar, but have different purposes. And what we do is actually work with lobbying within the field, social entrepreneurship, how can we make better awareness, like we're doing right now, the awareness about the area. Then we also have different projects. It can be a project for launching a social entrepreneurship venture, or it can also be projects for having dialogues regarding regulations for the area and something like that. I will give examples soon. And then also the business area, which is different kinds of social businesses that I'm involved in. Whoop, too far. And so what I do is actually very, very, very mixed. The overall thing that I do is like, I like to have fun, it should be lucrative, and it should change the world into a better place in some respect. And with that overall picture, that means that it's quite a lot of things that I can get involved in and also get involved in. Everything from street racing. We have a legal street race in the city now. We didn't have that before. Now we have a legal street race. I will talk more about that one in particular a little bit later. When you're talking about business, then sometimes maybe you need capital in some respect, or an investor. There is a lot of capital in Sweden. There's a lot of investors in Sweden. But people always, oh no, I don't have any money for my business. So we decide, okay, so we'll get some capital investors and bring them and show them here they are. And there we have this guy. He has his angel wings on because he's a business angel, as he says, which is the kind of people I like to work with. He has fun and he's cool. What else do we have? We have, oh, this is the Prince of Sweden actually. We had a VIP event where we were honored by being the host for the Prince of Sweden, Spotify's founder, and some other interesting people to talk about the subject of entrepreneurship for youths. And this is from Finland, the kind of exchange actually that you are also eligible for. And this is change makers from about 8 European countries. Youth Europa, they're doing similar things also all over Europe. And the purpose there was that young change makers who want to develop their leadership skills and stuff like that, get a free ticket, come up to the middle of Finland where it was freezing outside, to just get a whole week of information, preparation, education, also just having fun and getting to know each other. And what else do we have? Yeah, this is from Belarus, some Ukraine stuff. If we look at, I was in Latvia last week actually, and 2 cool examples. The first of the things that one cool business was this wonderful lady here, Natalia, who runs a business called OVA. And the business is really cool actually. They make designer clothes. That's what they do. They're designers and they make designer clothes. And they are really high premium stuff, these things. They are excellent and also very expensive. I went to buy like a small t-shirt for my daughter and it was like 50 euros. I said, okay, I will look at it and take a picture. So, but what's more special about this is that Natalia is diagnosed with several diseases, which means that she also has some form of disabilities. And all of these designer clothes are also manufactured so that regardless if you have any disabilities or not, they're very easy to put on and so on and so on and so on, which is to me wonderful and also a wonderful example of social entrepreneurship. It is entrepreneurship in the true sense that it is a business in a premium segment that's really, really tough and hard competition. In the same time that they're actually doing a social good that is very, very much needed because everybody has the will in some respect to look nice and beautiful and not have this opportunity. This other picture here also to just the how do you say, the different things that what I do. This is a conference also in Riga last week together with, this is the minister officials who are responsible for the new law that you have in Latvia. I don't know if you talked about this before, but you have a new law in Latvia that came into effect in April and they're responsible for this law. And the law is the framework for social entrepreneurship in Latvia. So now you have a special law that regulates, okay, this is the business form for social business and this is how we're supposed to work. In Sweden, we don't have a specific law for social entrepreneurship. Everything falls under entrepreneurship. So it's different aspects. And the purpose of that one actually was to, that meeting there was that we had a delegation from Ukraine, also Latvia, and also from Sweden to discuss these matters. So I'm involved in both high and low, which is fun. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, cool. So this is another example of just projects that we felt were needed. Are you aware of the Me Too movement? Is anybody not aware of the Me Too movement? Cool. And the Me Too movement that came into effect, so this is from last year, so we thought, okay, what can we do about this? So these two brilliant ladies here, Julia and Alexandra, approached me because they want to, they both themselves has rough experiences within the Me Too effects with sexual harassments and assaults and so on and so on and so on, and they want to make an impact about this. So I said, okay, cool, let's make an event. We'll invite all of the politicians in the region, put them on stage, and they get to answer questions, and we'll put them in the spotlight on what are they actually going to do about this matter. So we booked a really large restaurant, got 150 people to come. This is a wonderful resolution on this picture, I'm so happy about it. So on the stage you have all of the politicians from all the parties, and we got to put them on the spot on what do they think about this. And this was pre-election, this was last year. So of course now we have the possibility to do a follow-up again. So what was the effect? So you said all this, we have to have it on camera. Are they going to live up on it? So this is a possibility. Me myself won't have time to do that, so these ladies will be in charge of that one. And the main aim I always go through no matter what is if opportunity does not build a door. We set ourselves into some very large things. Okay, how can we affect regulations in different countries? Okay, that's an idea. But everything is possible. If you're a little bit bold and do your homework, anything is actually possible. Moving on to social entrepreneurship in Sweden. So the last part was the fun part, here comes the more hardcore part. Social responsibility has 3 core issues. Number 1, owner's return on profit is not the center of focus. If you look at a business, any business, either it's a private, small, personal company, or it's a big liability company, we know a stock-based company, yeah? The purpose of a stock-based company is to generate a profit to the owners. This is the essence of any business. But when you look at social businesses, the owner's return on profit is not the center of the focus. You also have social needs that you're addressing, and so on, and also the staff you have, and so on. The second one is it needs to be sustainable. If it's a social business, it needs to be sustainable. Not just financially, but also social economically, and also for the team. Social economically means in this case that, okay, we're addressing a social need in some respect, maybe we're reducing poverty for a group, for example. That's something we can count on, how many people are we benefiting, and so on and so on. And all of that measurement area is social economy. And also for the team. It's important with a high involvement and high engagement in a team. The last one is that it's some innovative solution on a social change. You're addressing something in a new manner. It can be something else that somebody else taught you about how they're doing it. You have a lot of social innovations. It's okay to copy that in some good respect. But you're doing stuff in a new way. And social entrepreneurship also affects all sectors. You have the private sector with all the normal businesses. You have the public sector with the city officials and so on, who has the responsibility for our communities and society. And then you have the large NGO sector. And social entrepreneurship and social businesses, they are right smack in the middle. So you have a lot of, in Sweden for example, you have a large NGOs, for example. Stadsmissionen is one large NGO who are actually a social business in large respects in the different areas. And you also have normal liability companies that are also within this. But they are actually in the mix of all of it because they're actually doing some of the things that maybe are the responsibility of the social or the public sector. But the public sector, maybe they don't have time or they don't have the funding or resources for it. So you have a business opportunity. And then you also have the large NGO sector, because the NGO sector, what it does actually, it mobilizes people around issues and so on. So this is why it's affecting all of them. Before we go to the next slide, questions, idea about this? Does this sound logical, or is it completely off the base? Or some people are looking a little bit tired just after the food, so that's okay. We'll do a quick energizer halfway through. Okay, it's crystal clear. Cool, you are experts soon. Okay, also if you look at social entrepreneurship, then you have the overall entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship you can divide into different sections. And in Sweden, when you look at social entrepreneurship and divide that into different sections, then we have work integrated issues, we have social services, not social services, but services connected to social entrepreneurship, and then other, always have this small group, other. I will give examples of this later on. And don't worry about taking a lot of notes. This is Prezi, so it's online, so you'll get the link from Patrick afterwards. No worries. I will give examples of these, but these are actually very, very national dependent, because in other countries, not really the same. Latvia I know pretty well, so it's a little bit different there. And there, for example, in Latvia, just for a reference example, in Sweden, work integration is an extremely big area, because we have so many immigrants who came from the last, say, 5 years. So the work integration into society is a big, big sector here, and it's generating so much possibilities and good for the society. In Latvia, for example, which I recently just learned that Latvia, the municipalities, of course, they have requirements that this is the responsibilities, so and so and so and so on. But if they don't have the resources, then they get an exception, and they don't have to do it. Which means that you have large NGOs that are actually doing a lot of good, who are helping elderlies with basic healthcare needs, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So this one is actually a little bit larger, for example, in Latvia. So it depends very much, but the segmentation holds. A brief look at what kind of type of business in Sweden that the organization form is. A large proportion are NGOs of the social businesses that we have, a very large proportion. The other large proportion is actually normal limited companies that are running as a social business. And then you have a small segment that's called restricted limited company, which means that it is a social business. We have a specific business form for social businesses in Sweden. We are not unique in this. We're unique in that we're one of the first to have it. Norway also have it. We're also very unique about that there's nobody using it. It's about 100 companies in all of Sweden that are using it. Latvia made a different approach, so they said, okay, so you want to do your social business, this is the form that you need to use, and this is also the purpose of the law. So here you have a requirement. You have to be registered as a social company in order to work in this field. In Sweden we're kind of relaxed, and we like to let people choose, and it's okay, we will see later. So while this is still discussing, there's a lot of businesses that are either a limited company or NGOs running as a social business. And the last factor that I'm very happy also, you're one of the younger groups that I'm meeting this year anyway, about this, is that you are in a very, very good position. This is just the start of social businesses. And this represents that there are a lot of capital involved. And also from the EU level and down, it's coming even more now. EU moves in 7-year circles. And the first circle now, or not the first, but one 7-year circle is about to end, which means that there's a new program period coming, and now we're talking billions of euros just dedicated to this area. And you also have the national regulations that are being adapted to it, and you also begin to see a lot of infrastructure in people like me who get paid to help facilitate and develop the area, which means that the conditions for you into doing business like this is amazing, and they will just be even more amazing. So I hope you're interested in the field. And the last thing about the business aspect and so on is that mainly it is small businesses. It's like 2, 3, 4 people, mainly the majority. Of course you also have larger, but the majority is smaller businesses, but together they're making a large, large impact on our societies, which is wonderful. Okay, and also another thing regarding businesses, no matter what it is, it's important to enjoy every moment. We have youth, what is it? Ung Företagsamheten tillhör också.
Yeah. GA.
What's the name for it in English? Because they belong to
Junior Achievement, GA.
Junior Achievement. Yeah, exactly. It's very, very strong in Sweden. So you have a lot of businesses popping up, and they're about your ages actually, who are popping up and starting businesses, and they get the possibility to learn this. I always try to hire them if I have the possibility in some respect, no matter what it is. One funny story: we had a delegation from Africa and also some Swedish female leaders, and the purpose was about female leadership. So we had high officials from Africa and also from Sweden. And I know some of these youngsters who are running these companies. So, and one of them have a catering company. So I said, okay, so to these two young girls, they were like 17 or 18, please, can you cater for us? And they were so nervous. Actually, okay, so we need to talk English and stuff like that. But they delivered, and that's what I think is wonderful, because when you're in that situation, of course, I'm conscious of these things. They were very nervous about this assignment because it was like a big pompous event. But I know that through their nervousness, they're going to check and recheck everything 50 times, and it will be awesome. So nervousness is a good thing, no matter what you're doing. I'll just say, okay, so this is 3 examples of things that I've been involved in. Just to show you just the diversity, and also it doesn't need to be brain science, everything that you do. And the first one here is a health garden for kids, elders, and disabled. And it's here in Kalmar, actually, this one we established. The Swedish people, do you know about this?
Yeah.
Självbeträdgården. Yay, I'm so happy! Somebody knows it. And this was a project. There's a lot of project funding. If you have a crazy idea or something, there's always some project funds somewhere. As long as you're good at explaining what you want to do, otherwise the fund will tell you how to explain it. So funding is normally never the issue. So we got a bunch of cash to establish a garden where everybody could come. Kids, elderlies, and also especially if you have some form of disability, maybe you have a wheelchair, it's not that easy to get to a garden. So we said, okay, everybody has the right to have a garden, we'll build your garden. So we built about, 200 square meter big garden in a big green public space over here. And the question about projects is always, okay, what happens after the project? What happens after the project funds are out? That's also the biggest issue. So when I got this assignment from the project owners who said, okay, Nicholas, here's a bunch of cash for building a garden, and here's a piece of paper saying what we need to do, and you have funding for 3 years. Oh, by the way, the garden needs to be there for 10 years. So I said, okay, the math doesn't really add up. Who's going to pay for the other 7 years? Yeah, you'll solve that, no worries. So my biggest issue as a project manager, because I don't know squat about gardening, I actually killed a plastic plant one time. So, true story, it is physically possible. If you put like a small candlelight too close to a plastic plant, it will But hopefully I have other qualities, because I got this assignment, and it's about, the project, I don't know, but it's about 400,000 euros or something. So it was okay, I was convincing anyway. But I was frank, I told him, yeah, so you want to give me this and kill a plastic plant? I said, sure, do it anyway. Okay, cool. So anyway, the big issue is how do you get it to function afterwards? And here the social business aspect comes in. Who has an interest in a garden for everybody? Okay, so my first thought was, okay, the municipalities. Municipalities, it's not easy for them to like give money just away, of course not. So the big trick here is how do you make an agreement between public sector and private sector? So we have some peers who are very curious about everything in here. No worries. So in the end, a long long story short, we have an agreement for this garden between the NGO that owns the garden and also the municipality. And this is quite new. You don't have that many of these types of agreements where the municipality said, okay, we will fund resources for this garden that's actually owned not by us, but by an external park. And so everything is possible if you just ask and go around about it. So this is like the core of social business, where you have municipality and NGO who has a business relationship for the good of the people. What a wonderful sound.
I've ordered that today.
Thank you, Patrick hates me. Okay, so the next one, street racing. This is also a thing. I don't know anything about cars. I love fast cars. I don't know anything about cars. True story. And there was a group who were making street races. They've been doing it for quite a long time, and they approached me because they wanted to like scale it up, because in the beginning it was maybe like 400 people there coming to this street race. And this is a public street that they close off. It's about maybe 120 drivers, and it's a big event now. There's about between 1,000 people, plus minus something like that, who comes every year to this event. The turnover is about 30,000 euro per year. And the big issue here was number one, okay, so how do we make a street race completely legal? And also, how do we make it attractive to the people who are doing the racing and stuff like that? And one interesting thing about this, at the time when I was involved in building this, I was also, the political head of the Green Party in this region. I was also into politics before. So there was like the first day I got involved in it, I looked up the newspaper and there was like a one page with the head of Green Party is doing street race, and I was like, okay, there's the day out the window. But the argumentation for doing these things is quite easy. It's fun, yes. It gave some controversy, yes, to my role at that time, but it reduces illegal street races. These people, they will drive their cars anyway. And these are high performance cars with like 1,000 horsepower. You don't want them driving around outside schools and stuff like that where it's maybe 20 or 30 miles an hour. It's dangerous for everybody. So we created this forum for them. And luckily enough, the municipality doesn't really like it because we mess up the street, and we also, by closing all of the surrounding streets like that, and you have other big sports events and collides with everything, normally they don't really like it at all. But happily for us, they are not the ones giving the permits. It's the regional authority, which sees all of these good benefits, that we are actually doing a public good in what we're doing. So it's a very, very beautiful event. And also, I'm just checking something up. Another thing also I like with this, one of the most involved ladies in this is a young lady, I don't know, below 30 or something, who also has a high performance car. So she's female, she's driven, she's smart as hell, and also she was also before involved in organizing most of the illegal street races. She doesn't have time for that now, so we're like double reducing it. So this is what I love about that one.
So, may I ask, is it still popular if it's not illegal?
It's, yes, it is. Because it is also, because of course people are stupid, and if you have illegal races, it's not poorly organized, but you can't have like a big event if it's illegal for understandable reasons. And it is still very popular for two reasons, because we give the same conditions as any other street race. So here's
It's not illegal,
exactly.
which is half of the fun.
I'm sorry. True. Of course, you still have that issue, but how to get to that point is that we have strong ambassadors. For example, like the lady that I told you about, that is one of the leaders of this event. She before used to organize most of the legal street racing, which means that she knows, of course, a lot of people from that community. And also, we also have a bunch of other ambassadors who has a good relationship with that community, which means that they're very good in mobilizing. And they're also very good at, because since I have a way with words and also have a big network. I'm the one who has to go and talk to the municipality regarding funding and other agreements. So I told them that if we have any other like illegal race and stuff like that, it will completely mess up our possibilities for that. So of course they've spoken harshly with that community. So you have a good bias effect. But I agree with you, the thrill of the illegal stuff is also an aspect, but that's a different issue. Are you falling asleep? No?
No.
No? Good. Tell me you fall asleep while here like, and I know somebody fell asleep. Cool. So we're keeping good pace. I was going to talk a little bit about, I don't know how, normally when I talk to people, either they're about to start a business or they just started a business or something like that. I don't know how big you're interested in just like the startup process about a business. I'll promise to do it in a fun way. If you feel like, oh no, this is not relevant for me, then let me know and I will take it from a different aspect. It sounds like I'm talking too fast. It's okay to speak. Okay. Then I will talk even faster. So, we have, first of all, this is the short version of the startup story of Kalmako, one of the businesses that I am the manager of. And first of all, to get the best, you need to work with the best. I always try to find who is the best within this field, and in some way I'll try to be very nice and live up to that level, because that keeps also me from having to develop to be as good as them. So that's key rule number one. I will explain about Kalmako. Step one, the vision. I'm an entrepreneur, so which means that I don't actually have the physical need of a physical office. I sometimes have it, sometimes not. And I got approached by some other friends who had a very good vision about, okay, can we just like create a space where everybody just can come and work and stuff like that, and also collaborate in some respect. So there was a vision about bringing entrepreneurs with hearts together in a physical environment in order to develop different ideas. I said, yeah, cool, let's do it. And one of my strong things is that I'm good at like getting shit done and keeping the momentum up and also being very structured. Then we have Jessica, my other partner. She has the very strong vision and so on, and also has a large network of people that she knows. And the third one is Martin, who actually went here. The principal might know him, Martin Rosén.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yay, cool. So he's my partner in crime in this one. And he's a very good businessman. He's also a very good salesman. So you have a team of people. So the first one is, yay, come join our team. And also, of course, some hang-arounds. Some people are mildly interested but didn't really want to get that involved, but they thought it was fun and interesting. So we have like a core group where we discuss these things, and everything should be easy. Both Martin, as the rest of you will know, he has his businesses and is also very fast moving. Me, myself, can also like fly away, and Jessica as well, which means that it needs to be very simple the way that we communicate and do things. So we like just made a Facebook group just to share the ideas and just what are we doing, and then just some easy documents on Google Drive. Basic. Organization structure, communication. Doesn't need to be any more difficult than that. After that, we began to, okay, so we need to engage some customers in some respect. And also remember, after this session, we'll have a workshop on creating social business ideas. Good. After we had the vision and we started to like, okay, this is how we think we're going to do it, then we began to engage customers and other clever people. So this is also an interesting way, okay, I need to start something, people don't know what it is, how do I get their feedback? So we created a forum, it says Impact Invest here, so we made, this is actually in a shopping mall, in an empty storage. So we were an empty, an empty facility, thank you. From Swedish to English by Iceland, I love it. Cool. So we got that room to borrow it. I know that people love capital investors, so we got another investor coming down from Stockholm, and then we invited everybody to come and listen to this wonderful social entrepreneurship investor, blah, 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 blah. And while we had all of these peers there in that room, of course, when he was done, we were like, so we want to create a co-working space. What do you guys think about that? So we got their attention and their interest by something that everybody had in common so that we could have a forum for our cause. This is the purpose that we did. And which means that we are engaging potential people. So this is our idea. What do you think? Like it or not? And so on and so on and so on. And from that, some of the people said, oh, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, maybe I want to give my feedback and so on and so on. So we sat down, everybody in a room. Okay, so this is what we want to do. What do you think? And we are very open-hearted. You have to be as business. What does the customers think? Oh, no, it should be like this instead. Okay, we'll change it. No worries. And from that, this is still like the piece of paper just. We didn't have anything at all at this point. But still, we need to sell something because it's a co-working space, a physical space that we wanted. We found a place in the mall. Why not? So we put the co-working space in the mall. That should be fun. And started to just promote air. So we got the possibility just to come over there and check it. So we had the press there. This is Ling, who is mildly surprised about the attention there. So we started to sell long before that we had contracts for the place at all. And which means, and also that we made another event just to come there and say, okay, so this is the place. Would you sign up? Yes, we would sign up. So we got letter of intents. With letter of intents, it's much, much, much more secure when people say, okay, we'll do this. So when we have these promises from our customers, then we can go over to the people who own the building. So we have 100 people who promise that they will borrow this if we can have this place. And then you can begin deal making. So we started the whole selling process long before we had anything done. Which means that we got the people who wanted to sit there and pay us, cool. We got a place to be, check. So the next problem is that, okay, now we just have to deliver a co-working space. That was like the third issue. And this phase of deliverance always comes, that it's like shock. Okay, so we need to make a place. We have chairs. How much does a chair cost? And a lounge room and stuff like that. So that's the panic phase when you need to deliver. But you will always fix that, and it's always good to have some amount of pressure on you because you will deliver. We actually just closed this place down, like inspiration story, and then we closed it down. But we've been running it for 3 years, so at the end, at the year turnover this year, we closed this place. So we're still doing a bunch of stuff, but we don't have the physical place still. We're thinking about if we're going to create a new one or not. But anyway, what we are doing is, here's the African delegation. And we also have different concepts about startup bars, everything for entrepreneurs to get together and develop their ideas. Yeah, we also support a lot of things. This is Carolina, another brilliant young lady who wanted to gather in a lot of clothes and stuff like that because we have people that don't have a lot of money, and this is the truth and reality. So she wanted to help them and wanted to use our network and platform for promoting this in order to have people just to come and drop off a lot of things. This, I think, is a wonderful thing. So, and this is also to me always, it's both the social need and the business because a lot of people got help. A lot of people got help. And of course, this also brings attention to us as a platform for entrepreneurs and for businesses. And now she wants to, this is 1 year ago maybe, and now she approached me again because she has another beautiful event and project that she wants to do. That's a little bit more high level because now she learned a bit, and now we're collaborating in new ways. So always this momentum forward. And although it seems like we're all over the place and stuff like that, we are business minded, so we only have like 2 major things that we're doing. It's projects, think outside the damn box. We always try to do projects that we believe are needed, that nobody else does, or there's a vacuum for it in some way. And then we create different types of forums. We have one forum now at different hotels in Sweden. and so on and so on and so on. And then we have different projects, like the international projects that I'm doing, and also some smaller projects. And that's actually just the story of Kamako. And this whole process took maybe from start to finish, when we were 6 to 8 months, where the large proportion was actually just finding a good place name. But it's not so hard if you just like give your damn to it. Okay, we want to do it, and get people on the train. When you're talking about social entrepreneurship, and also I would argue any type of business, it's mainly about co-creation. Where do I find the intersection between my interests, your interests? Here we have us. And this is big and small in all relationships, no matter if it's human relationship or business relationships. So if you can find these key points, where do we coincide? Then you're onto something. So co-creation, and this is a methodology all by itself that I strongly recommend just to be aware of. Okay, how can we do this together? What is my interest? What is your interest? We can always meet in some respect. I'm sorry, I just remembered something. And by some respect, I mean that this can be anything from business interest to also, we are doing a lot of stuff. For example, the forum now that we have, it's, pop-up office for everybody. So it's a forum, and the main thing there is everybody loves hotel breakfasts. So it's an open forum for entrepreneurs to come and work with a laptop at a hotel, either here, outside collaboration with hotels in Malmö, and so on and so on. And so it's an open forum because everybody loves hotel breakfast. So it's really, really cheap with a beautiful hotel breakfast, which means that we gather a lot of brilliant people and entrepreneurs there, and like they're stuck because they're eating breakfast, which means that I can like demand their attention, just say, okay, so while you're eating, I have this brilliant idea, or okay, so while you're eating, so we have an entrepreneur here, she just needs about 5,000 euros to get started. It's a cool business idea. Who's on it? So you can find this interaction between me and you. It can be basic needs or it can be something large. But you can always find a key point. Yay, that was everyday business for us. So that's what I do. I don't know if there's a specific education for that. Besides being mental and driven and love society and have fun. I'll go through this briefly, just some cool examples of social businesses in Sweden. This is an app called Hand Discover. And what they did was that, okay, so everybody knows about booking.com, yeah? Cool. So they thought, okay, why isn't there a good place for people with some form of disabilities or special needs? Why isn't there a platform for them? Because it's very hard to know when you're going into a hotel, is it adapted to this or to that, and so on and so on and so on. So they said, okay, we'll create a platform. And it's the first community-based holiday accommodation booking website dedicated to people with special needs and disabilities. And how it works, yeah, so they're all over the world, where you want to go, discover an accessible world, book your accommodation, and then enjoy your holiday. And everything is categorized, everything is categorized. Here it says how mobile are you, so you also have that form of criteria when you're doing the search engine. And this small thing means that it is actually available, and they're in 52 countries now. And was founded about 2014. So in 37 countries, 4,000 accommodations. Just starting from this idea. We'll skip that one. Another form of social business is the food mission. People in tough economical situations get food at a reduced costs. And you also have this work integration. And it also addresses less food waste. So, okay, so if people, for example, on welfare, for example, food is amazingly expensive in Sweden. Even me, I'm going like, how much is a cucumber really supposed to cost? So it is ridiculously expensive. So what they do is actually they take care of food waste from large companies and large stores and stuff like that, and they gather it, and then they have a shop. Let's see, we have a picture of the shop. Yay, we have a picture of the shop. In this shop, and of course you have regulations on can I sell old food, but food is good enough. You're not stupid. So what they do is that, okay, so this is a little club, you can join our club. If you have a part of a welfare system and so on, then you're eligible to be in our club. And that means that you have an all-private club, so you can do basically what you want. So people at poverty level or even below, they have the great possibility to buy extremely cheap food in good conditions. So this is social business that is wonderful. This is a form of work integration social business, which actually means that, okay, people are cooking food who comes from different countries, they're learning how to cook food, they're training, and so on and so on and so on. So in this case, they're using food as a form of work integration to learn language, structure, and so on. But I can name like 20 other ways to do this, and you have 20 other companies also. This is in Kalmar actually. You should go sometime. Only vegetarian. And then we have the last unique ones. We'll start with this guy. This is Staffan. I love Staffan. Staffan, he's not that old, 27 or something. Just for reference, we said youth achievement, yeah? They are also doing almost basically the exact same thing as youth achievement, but they are a private social entrepreneurship company, one of the few in Sweden actually. And they're a small group. So I heard about them, that they were a social company. It says Young Drive here, but it's called Youth Drive. So I talked to Staffan, who I know by now, and he was like, yeah, so we're doing that in about 60 municipalities in Sweden. So I said, okay, that's cool, so you're helping young kids and to become entrepreneurs. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, and also we educated 13,000 youngsters in Sudan about entrepreneurship. Okay, that's a large number. So they're actually everywhere. They just got a recommendation from the UN Secretary, used them as a good example of social entrepreneurship. So they are extremely good. I would not say a bunch of kids, that will make me feel old, but ironically I used to say I hate people like this because he's so bloody good and a wonderful human being and nice and super cool. So that's also one form of social entrepreneurship, about the people, relationships, and building the future, and so on and so on and so on. Then you also have the innovation aspect, which is the Swedish innovation. It's just a briefcase. You pour some water into it, smack it in the sun, poof, 20 minutes later you got clean water. This is amazing. And water, as you know, is a big issue on our small planet where we tend to pollute everything. And they are in a lot of countries. You can hardly see it here, but they are in all of the major conflict areas. And this is also social business that is run. This is actually the only company that President Obama visited when he was in Sweden, actually. It was these guys. They're also very, very cool. Very simple, just add some. Not well known, actually, that company. So, the types of different businesses on social entrepreneurship: work integration, services, and other. These are the unique social innovations. If you can dream it, you can do it. Some of the ideas that I mentioned before are quite crazy, especially some of the other ones, like the youth achievement private one. I thought that was very bold to do something like that. Okay, we don't like the existing one. Let's create a better one. Cool, go for it. I love that. This will go very quickly about the challenges when you're doing social businesses. One is team skill. You should be not very skilled, but you need to be able to take each role. Okay, so I'll handle structure. Okay, cool, I like to meet new people. I'll handle sales. Okay, I have a very strong vision. I know I can see everything in my head. Cool, so you'll be kind of the visionary responsible for a business idea and so on. You need to be able to take that role because it will be much, much easier to delegate assignments between you and so on, and also develop. Society needs versus businesses. Some social businesses, they are not businesses, they're just doing charity. Charity is wonderful, but you need to be careful because it's not sustainable. How will you feed yourself? How will you be able to do it again? So you have this balance always between being a business and also doing the social need. How do you balance that in a good professional way? The last one is about capital. It might seem far reach, but it's not. There's a lot of capital. I fund people, youngsters as yourself also. Okay, cool, we have a good idea. We only need 100 euro. Okay, sure, here, go. Feedback, do some good, fun. But if you're talking about social businesses, a lot of them are NGOs. How can I invest in an NGO? How can I get this money back with a profit and so on and so on? So you have capital issues because there's a lot of capital. And also measurability. If you're doing a social good, for example, reducing poverty, how are you going to measure this? If you're doing social needs in some other way, what is the key point? How will you explain to somebody this is the good that we're doing in numbers so they can understand that? And the last point that I will say about this section before we have a breather and standard is that work hard, dream big. Seriously. Anything can be overcome with hard work, no matter what it is, if you know anything about it or if you do not. Just pursue it. If it's this area or any other area, and just be bold. Yay, we made it, nobody fell asleep. Yay! Cool, thank you so much. This is the first section now. We will just have a quick energizer, go out, run around, meet some new people from other countries, and we'll see you back here in about...
I don't know, should we have some coffee and...
Oh
no?
yeah, baby.
Yeah?
Let's do that. So,
then we'll have
let's say 12
20
minutes or something.
What's that?
12 minutes or typ eller?
20 minutes, 25?
25 minutes? No, I need to go.
50.
No, we'll meet back here at 20 past.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll run and see if he's ready.